Hi everyone, welcome to Knotty Yarnies. I'm so glad you found me here today. My name is Barb. I'm coming to you from Ontario, Canada. If you are a new viewer and stumbled upon my podcast here, thank you so much for taking the time to watch even a minute. If you do watch the entire video and you enjoyed it, I'd appreciate you sticking through and hitting the subscribe and the thumbs up and even commenting down below that you're new and you enjoyed it. I have it separated into a knitting podcast, and I'll also have in a few more days a crochet version of my podcast as well. I do a lot. So I knit a lot, I crochet a lot. So I separated them in half because my podcast got really long, and some people just knit, some people just crochet. So this way, those people who are interested in either or both can watch those videos. If you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back and welcome back. And I hope you enjoy what you see and how much progress I've got and how much new things I have and on the needles and what I've casted off, and I've did quite a lot of stuff. So the first thing I want to mention since last time, which was 2 weeks ago, I got an email the day I was actually finished recording that I was accepted into the Fiber Hustle bingo on Christmas. Well, I was gonna say Christmas Eve. That's not right. Scratch that. Halloween Eve. So the night before Halloween, we played bingo with the Fiber Hustle. Chip and Aaron. I was going to say Chick and Aaron. I think it was why I was going to say Chick and Aaron was because they were dressed up as women again, and it was so much fun. Of course, it's always fun with those guys. And yeah, we had Lady Chip and the original Mrs. Werther's. So they were a hoot and a scream and fun as always. I got to play with a couple of other podcasters that I know. So the Boozy Bears guys, Vince and Justin, both of them. And I also got to play with my friend Gina over at the Knitting Turnpike. And it's over on Zoom. So you just see, like, everybody usually sees little squares of everybody. But on my tablet, I can only see whoever's talking at the time. I don't know how to change that setting on my tablet. I've got to work on that, so I'm not sure how to do that. I've played a few times now, and I have no clue what I'm doing. I don't even know how to chat on it or anything like that. So I'm going to put a picture right here of my costume. If you want any information about my hat that I made all by myself, everything is handmade on it. You watch in a few days my crochet podcast, and I'll have all the information that you want right there. So you'll have to be patient and wait a little bit until I edit that video and get that one up as well. So I'm going to do this knitting one first, edit it, and then send that out, and then edit the other one. So yeah, I actually ended up winning a prize at bingo. I was so excited. It was a bonus game to begin with. So we were done playing, but they decided to play one extra game. So we played this extra game, and somebody else yelled bingo, but I had a bingo as well. But I waved and stuff and acted like a fool. But I was like, I have a bingo too, I have a bingo too. So they gifted us both a prize, which was amazing. So I'll be receiving a Scrappy Angel Peekaboo sock bag. And it's pink. I'm so excited. It looks beautiful. So I should be showing that within the next couple of podcasts because it takes time to get me through the mail. I'm in Canada, and Chip and Aaron are in the States, so it takes time to get to me, and they're also on the west side, and I'm more Central Eastern than they are, so it'll take a while to get through customs and all that fun jazz, right? So I wanted to tell you all about that before I got it. I was just so excited and had such a fun night playing with them. So the next thing I wanted to do was my FOs. You'll be surprised, my FOs, let's see here. One of my FOs I had started, and the last podcast, and I finished. It's a big one too. And then the other FO that I have, I you haven't even seen it casted on. It's already casted off. So, and I think that's most of the things that are in my whips. Yep, everything that's today except for the 1FO that I'll show first are all new cast-ons, and I'll be showing you and telling you all the stuff. If you ever have any questions that I forget, or I do have notes to write down and to make sure I talk about, but if there's anything that I forget, I usually try to put it on the screen, or if never hesitate to ask me down below. Like just hit the chevron down bar and comment and just say, Barb, you forgot to mention this or that. I would love to be able to take great show notes, but I'd rather be knitting, honestly, than sitting and typing all the information and getting the tags and all that stuff. It's enough to edit a whole video, let alone to have to do all the show notes. I don't mind ever, like if you message me privately on Instagram, Facebook, email, my email, oh yes, email's knottyyarnies@gmail.com. That's the other one I forgot to tell you about. And I'm Knotty Yarnies on Instagram, Knotty Yarnies on Ravelry. So you can find me all those places, and of course here on YouTube as Knotty Yarnies. So let's get into this fun, beautiful, beautiful works. So my first project is, my first ones are going to be finished objects, which we call FOs. And my first FO was a test knit for Cozy Up Knits. And you had seen it the last episode, and it is called the Wayward Shawl, and it's not quite out yet. I have a feeling they will be releasing it this week. They usually have a podcast up by Thursday morning, so watch for that podcast, because I have a feeling they will be chatting about this shawl and that'll be released and everything, because it's beautiful. So I offered to test knit, and I will show you some of my yarns I used. I used my hand-dyed yarn that I made myself. This is the only one I have some left of. It's like purples, pinks, and a beautiful like sky blue. And then the other two colors that are solid on it are purple and rose. And they are from Loops and Thread Wool-like. And this is purple and this is rose. And it's a very soft acrylic yarn, but very affordable. And I like to every once in a while just mix it up with a little bit of my hand-dyed with the Wool-like to take away some of the expense of it, but also to make it not as warm to me, because the acrylic isn't as warm as the wool, so the mixture kind of just is a happy medium for me, if that's, you know. And also it's a little thinner than the fingering. So I used my Addy Rocket Squared, let's see here, 4mm needles, and I used a 50-inch cord. It takes 5 grams, no, it doesn't take 5 grams, wow, that's a tiny shawl, 5 50-gram, you know, a fingering weight yarn, so that's a number 1 weight yarn. Now you can go a little lighter and you could go a little heavier. I don't think it would matter much. I will, after I show my shawl, I will insert a picture of me modeling it for the test knit. So here it is. I have not blocked it yet, so you will see my, a few ends are in here, but I leave those until after I block it. I've already weaved them in and everything. I did the weave and Steven method, and then I weave them in on top of that. And then I block it, and then I cut my ends after it's blocked so that it doesn't get pulled out, or I don't know why. I feel safer doing it after blocking than beforehand. So here it is. This is the first section. And this is I ran out of this yarn. I talked about it last podcast. So I went right into section 2, and that's where I was last time. You'll see my stitch marker here. That's where I was last time. And I did the rest of that section. So I ended up doing the rest of the first section in the purple, and then went right into section 2 using the purple, which isn't supposed to be like this. So then you'll see the transition between the purple and that pink, purple, tealish color. That's what it was supposed to look like on between the first and second section, okay? And then the bottom, you could kind of see it between this transition between the pink and the pink, purple, teal color. And then the kind of border, because it's not blocked, there we go. And this is like, I don't have any of this left. I didn't quite have 50 grams, but I made it. So I think I had like 43, 44 grams, but I had this much left. So nothing that would show you the color of what it was before. So it is a long shawl. So they'll probably show this on YouTube if you have a TV of me going back and forth like this. So it's a beautiful shawl, and I find I've worn it outside already. Even though it's not blocked, it doesn't necessarily matter to me. But I wore it outside for my photo shoot, but here we go. So once it's blocked, this curling will stop. That's here. So it'll show that even more. I'm not great at, I have to stand kind of in a mirror and do the shawl adjustments. But it was such a fun test knit. I don't want to give anything away. Told you all the information. 5 50-gram balls. It's beautiful, cozy, light. It's also light. Like, it's not real warm, but it's also not the lightest, like laciest thing. It is some lace stitch, which after I finished this shawl, I messaged my friend Gina and said, how in the world do you do lace? Because I just had a hard time concentrating on the repeats. I think next time what I do is put stitch markers between the repeats, so if I boo-boo in that section, I know that I boo-booed. Because boy, this is, I think, the reason why I do a lot of just easy peasy knit and purl stitches, and that's it. What people may call boring, but to me it's when you're at home with your family watching TV, or you're out somewhere, or you're traveling or something and you just want an easy project. That's the kind of projects I like to do. But yeah, there's my shawl, the Wayward shawl by Cozy Up Knits, people. I'm hoping you love it. I hope I did colors okay, because I'm not great at colors. Choosing colors for a project, I'm not really great at, so I'm hoping that that looks okay. I think it's all right. I think the purple might be a little bit dark. That might have been should have been a little bit lighter, but I think it looks all right. Yeah, so I envy anybody that loves lace work. I envy you, because this took some brain power. But I'll tell you, I whipped this out in I would say 5 days of straight knitting. Like, that's all I did was knitting, and I did it in 5 days. I had it done in a week for them, but I took 2 days in the middle because I can't even remember why now, but it was before Halloween. But I took 2 days off from it, and then I had it done. I actually had it done 10 days before the test knit was even due. So I just whipped it out. I just wanted to get it done and off the needles to wear it and show it. So there we go, the Wayward shawl. And the next thing is a new cast on. Speaking of Cozy Up Knits, they have a hat along, knit along. It's with any of their hat patterns that they have. And they're having it till November 30th. It started, I believe, November 1st. Might have been October 30th. I don't remember. So I already had purchased the Blurry Flurry hat. I didn't purchase the proper yarn that they have with it. Snappy. Sorry, I forget the dyer's name that they do it with. But I chose, just because I wanted to do a Christmas colored hat, so I chose the Craftsmart Value Jacquard. And it's just green, white, gray, and green. And this is what I have left out of that whole ball of, it's a smaller because it's a jacquard. It's not as long and as heavy as the other ones. So it's 4.2 ounces, 120 grams. And it is, oh no, that's not right. Oh yeah, okay. And 215 yards, which is 197 meters. So I would say I used it about half for the hat. And I used a 4.5 millimeter knitting needle, my Addy Rocket squared on a 3, don't mind math, 9-inch cord. I'm doing the subtraction. The Addy Rocket squared needles are only 3.5 inches each. So you take that number and you multiply it by 2 to get your total length. So that's 7 inches. And so I wanted it 16 inches around for the hat. So I chose a 9-inch Addy's cord. And that's why I like those needles. I have a hard time with a 4 or 5-inch needle, doing even with the cord. So say I chose 5-inch needles, that's 10 inches in needles alone. That only gives me a 6-inch cord to kind of maneuver the hat around. And I'd much rather a smaller needle to work with. So that's why I chose my Addy set. They're great, great, great for hats. But the problem is my smallest needle tip, I believe, is 2.75. So to do a fingering weight hat, it wouldn't work if I wanted to use a 2.5 or smaller. So, and my gauge is usually on the larger side, like looser. So I like to go down a hook size, listen to me crocheting like I'm on a crochet podcast or something. So I want to go down a needle size or 2 because I'm such a loose knitter. So this pattern calls for a 1 size to do the brim and then a 2nd size needle to switch for the body. But because I'm a looser knitter, I went down a 0.5 millimeter. So it calls for a 5 millimeter for the brim, and I used a 4.5. And then I tried it on, and I liked the fit of that, and I wanted the main hat to be the same. So I had a tight fitting hat. I like a tighter fitting hat. So I just went with the 4.5 millimeter to the top of my hat. Anyway, I did DPNs to close the last, I think, 3-4 rows maybe. But here is the Blurry Flurry hat. I'll just insert a picture here of me wearing it. I guess I could try it on. I'm always not wanting to mess my hair up, but there we go. I did a very wide brim, so in the pattern, hopefully you're seeing that okay. There's the top. In the pattern, it says to do a certain size for your brim if you just want a beanie style. But if you want to have a folded up like I do, you just knit a longer brim. So I knit like 6.5 inches. So I knit all the way up to here. Oh, here. And then I started the main body. So that other section's, this section here is kind of hidden, which I didn't really want to happen, but what can you do? So kind of blends in, I guess, because there's the green and red on the tip. So I really enjoyed making this, and I wanted to get a hat in for the knit along and be in for, yeah, to be in for their knit along and to learn new stitches. And that's what I'm all about. I love learning. So each project I do, I try to learn something. So this was fun. It's a paid for pattern on Ravelry and Love Crafts. You could find it on. So yeah, that's the Blurry Flurry hat by Cozy Up Knits. Was that all there was to say about that? Yep, I believe so. Okay, so now we're on to whips, and the whips are, oh, I'll get rid of this bag. I just have it in a hat. This was my shawl bag. Just a bag that I got from the secondhand store. It has zippers on both sides. Amazing roomy bag, so I just loved it. It had enough room for all 5 skeins to be pulling out of there, and then also enough room for me to put my shawl in when I was done, and the pattern as well, to have room for the pattern in there and everything. So there was lots and lots of room in there. Okay, so my next whip, I'm going to stick with, I'm going to do my next Cozy Up knit because we're on a Cozy Up knit kick right now. So my next one, I decided to do another Blurry Flurry hat and try a different yarn. So I thought I would try, oh, what am I doing here? I got some yarn hanging out where it shouldn't be hanging out. Go back to your home yarn. So I thought I would get like a speckly yarn. I'm thinking that's what they wanted, was a speckly yarn to use it for. I'm hoping that's a little bit better. It was kind of like really, really bright. So I thought I would use a speckly yarn so that it similarly to what they wanted to do. So I'm just working on the brim. I'm not very far. So here is my brim so far. This is actually like an hour or so work already. Sorry, it's kind of blowing out there with the, I'm almost wondering if I should turn it off. Yeah, so this is Charisma Baby by Loops and Thread, just a acrylic yarn. The color is called Bubblegum. Rightfully so. It's some pinks and purples and of all different shades and some beautiful white. So just making it for myself for my gifting basket. So I have some already made hats if I want to throw in a little extra, which I normally always do, throw in extra in everybody's gifts. You know, like hats usually take me, myself, between 6 to 8 hours. So that's a whole entire work day, you know, of knitting to gift somebody, you know. So to me, that's a gift of love. So my next pattern I'm making is a hat that I am doing some testing for. And I'm not going to give anything away, like the designer or anything, but I found her on Instagram looking for some test knitters. She was just looking for you to get gauge, and then once we got gauge, we all went into a private group on Facebook, and we're waiting for the tech editor to be done with the pattern to be released to the testers, and then we will go from there. We all did the test gauge, which took us a couple of days because it was just some playing around with the pattern, and you had to knit it in the round. And instead of knitting in the round, I cheated, as you can see. So here's the front of my test swatch. Let's see if I can hold all those so you can see the swatch. How beautiful is that stitch? The stitch is so much fun. It's different, it's unique. I've tried to look up the stitch and you can't find it anywhere. I think she invented a whole new stitch pattern. I think. I couldn't find it anywhere. Anyway, I'm using Hopscotch in the colorway of Somersault. It's kind of like some grays and some olivey green in there. It's beautiful. Number 4 weight yarn. I'm using my ChowGoo Shorty sets, but the blue one. So the larger kit, so not the red one for socks, but the one size up for socks as well, but for thicker weight yarns or mittens or anything like that. Gloves, even hats. I did hats with them and just use a longer cord. So I'm using the 5mm size, and the cable is a small. So I'm using the 3-inch needles. So 3 plus 3 is 6. So I'm using the 6 inches, and then I got a 9, is it 8 or 9 inch cord? I think I got an 8-inch cord. So 6 plus 8 is 14 inches around. So my hat will be going on 14 inches around instead of the usual 16, which is totally fine. Just means my stitches will be closer together, which is fine. So that'll be coming out hopefully in the next little while, because I'm sure everyone's going to be totally interested in this beautiful hat pattern because it's gorgeous. It's the first time I test knitted for this person. I'm in a test knit group because I enjoy test knitting so much that I want to get notified as soon as there's a test knit going on. I want to be part of that. So my next whip, we've got this one and one more. And my test knit, this knit, so this one is for my mom for Christmas. So Mom Rita, if you are watching, yet again, I'm going to ask you just to look away until I say you could look back. Close your eyes or let it play and go in the kitchen, and I'll call you back in when I'm done talking about your Christmas gift. You'll hear what they are anyway. You know what they are. I just don't want her to see them. So close your eyes or walk out of the room. So I do them 2 at a time. I've got them in the little bag that I got from my friend Gina. I won on her podcast from Nightbot. Picked a number, a random number, and I chose Sweet 16, and Nightbot said that I chose the right number. So I won this, and I won a beautiful turtle pearl Christmas set of yarn, which I'll be casting on for socks soon. Watch for that next podcast. So my mom's socks, I'm using, again, Patton's Croy FX yarn, but this time in the colorway Cameo Colors. So her favorite color is blue, but this isn't all blue. Hopefully that's okay, because sock yarn in all just blues is not easy to find here. Actually, sock yarn here, period, is not easy to find. So I don't know if you watched the last one. If you did, you will know that it took me 3 skeins of the Patton's Croy yarn to make 2 socks. So I changed it up because to save one for me from going out and trying to get another ball of this, I decided the other ones were a little on the slouchier side. I made them larger around because this yarn is a little bit thicker than the sock yarn that I got her to try the socks on with before. So they're going to be pretty loose on her, the other ones, but she could wear them as house socks, and these ones will be tighter knit, so these ones will be better for her in shoes, to go anywhere, in her boots to keep her toes warm. So I'm using the same needle size. So I've got 2.25 needles, and I'm using my Hiya Sharp needles. So I've got this ×2 going on because I do them in, like, I'll do the cuff, and then I do the cuff, and then I do the leg, then I do the leg. So I do have 2. I'll show you that in a minute. So I got the beautiful Hiya Sharps, and they are sharp, by the way. I use a little thing called, what's it called? Come on. Think. Wrigley's. I'll put the name here. They're called this. And you put it on your finger, you measure your finger, and the dimensions, I bought them on Amazon. You get 10 of them for $14. And if you're like me, you push off with your finger on the tips, and you'll end up with a hole in your finger. So this prevents getting a hole in your finger. Picked out a whole set of Hiya Sharp socks. They are awesome. I love them. They come with four sets of needle tips. So like 2, 2.25, 2.25, 2.75, and I don't remember. That's 4. And no, that's 3. 2, 2.25, 2.5, that's 4. And then 5 lengths of the cord. And then it comes with attachments at the bottom so you can make the needles longer if you like longer needles. And so I just love them. I just wear my little fingertip thing and they're great, especially for the lace, like for working, you know, if I wanted to work the shawls, they would be wonderful. So I do cuff down for the socks. I do 20 rows. I did 68 stitches this time instead of 72, so that I went down in size so that I wasn't going to need that third ball of yarn. I also usually do a 40 row leg, so I only did 37 rows to cut down 3 rows. Actually, I did 38. I cut down 2 rows on each sock to save a little bit of yarn. I do a heel flap, heel turn, and gusset, and then after the gusset, I mark that stitch when I'm done the gusset. So I've marked, this is the stitch right when I'm done the gusset, right there. And I do 45 rows for our size, my mom and myself. And then before I start the toe decreases. And then I do the toe decreases like you do 2 on each needle. So 4 decreases on one row and then none on the next row. 4 on the next row until you're down to 16 stitches. And then you decrease every row until you're down to 8. Hope I didn't say that too fast. But if you have any anything you want to know, it's on my Ravelry, which is Knotty Yarnies, or I can let you know if you just message me. You'll message me down below. I can let you know what I did. So these are like, our size is women's 9-10, so that would fit women's 9-10. They would be comfy, cozy, not too tight on your leg, because that's what we like, is not really tight on our legs. We like a little room, a stretch. These are fun to make. They last so long, like so well. So yep, so these are hers. This is the one. The other one, I just finished the gusset and I haven't did any rows, so there they are. Whoop, boop. There's the 2 there. Stay on my lap. I can't use that for my screenshot because she will see them. Oh. Ha ha ha. Yeah.
A sleighing song tonight. Oh, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Hey, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh.
I'll probably just fast forward that real quick so I sound like Mickey Mouse. But I have a clock that I got. Okay, first of all, that was my mom's socks. So Mom, you could look back if you wish. I'm putting the socks away so you can't see them. The clock sound you just heard was my Christmas sock, which I move into the living room where it's bright, and it chimes every hour once we get down to like 50 days or so till Christmas. We're at 47 days from today till Christmas. So it came into the living room, put fresh new batteries in, and it plays a Christmas carol every hour. I'm a Christmas nut, if you haven't guessed. My last, but certainly not least, one of my favorite things I've ever knit, and I see what all the hype is about. You're all going to say, oh, not another one, but this is new to me. So I decided, because my son had purchased the kit for it at Wool Time in Ottawa, to do the Night Shift by Drea Renee Knits, which is Andrea Mowry. Oh my gosh. I purchased the pattern. The pattern didn't come with the kit, which is unfortunate. I thought buying a kit you would get the pattern and everything in, but apparently not. I don't know if that's the norm, but it wasn't included. So I had to purchase the pattern, which was enough money in its own. But because my son purchased the kit, I didn't, of course, mind. So I'm using Cascade 220 yarns is what he purchased for me. And the color numbers are 202, 205, 200, no, why did I say 200? 102, 105, 108, 109, 110, 111. And it is 100% superwash wool, 100 grams, which is 220 yards. And I'm having an absolute blast with this pattern. It is so addictive. I also, while I purchased the shawl pattern, I also purchased the cowl. And I can't wait to make that. I'm not even finished this, but I can't wait to make that. So I'm using a 5mm Addy Rocket squared with a 50-inch cable on it, so I can show you all as I go, and as it gets bigger, I can still show it really nicely. So here is the yarn. First of all, I'll keep you in suspense. Here are the yarns I am using. Boop, boop. I have it in a cute bag that I got from the secondhand store, which was a nice short bag, but it's square and it keeps it all so nicely. So here I got a purple, I got a beautiful teal, a lovely brown, a vibrant orange, a deep, deep red, and this one here is like a gray with all different shades of gray. And I just love them, and they're working out so nice. So the the pattern calls for spin cycle yarns. And if I was to use that, it would be over a $200 shawl. I think the kit that I had seen was $225, $250 Canadian plus taxes. I could not do that at all. Like, I couldn't do that. So this was expensive enough for myself. Like, my son purchased it, but it was still quite costly. But at Wool Time, they have such wonderful prices, and they have a thing where when you spend every $20 you spend, you get a stamp. And after you fill your card, you get 20% off, 15 or 20% off your next order of anything regular price. So I had a card like that. So I had given it to my son to purchase the kit, and he got the percentage off the kit. It worked amazing. It was like, and then they even stamp when you purchased it on a discount, they still stamped my card. Oh, those women are wonderful there. If you're anywhere around Ottawa, or if you can order off them online, it's a beautiful, beautiful store. The owner, she's a wonderful, wonderful woman. So here, I must get her name. Must get her name next time I'm in. I would love to give her a shout out. So this is how addictive this is. I've only worked on this 3 nights, and this is how far I am already. I know it probably doesn't look much to you guys, but with the patterning that it takes quite a lot of knitting to get like an inch of fabric. It's quite a lot of knitting. So this is a lot of work. I'll show it closer up. I'm sorry, it's curling a little bit at the bottom because of course it's wool and it needs to be blocked. Is that not gorgeous? Oh, beautiful. Even my back side, I must say. Like, even the back is pretty. I think I did pretty well. I hope I did pretty well. I'm pretty happy with myself with this. I was super excited to make it. Thank you, Cole, so much for the shawl kit. I so love it. It's going to keep me so warm for these cold Canadian winters. We're calling for the most snow we've had in 14, 15 years this year. So bring it on. I'm ready with all my wool and my knits. I'm so ready. This is beautiful. Oh my gosh, it's so squishy and soft. So any of these patterns are so, okay, they're easy enough for somebody like myself that just wants meditative, easy knitting and you look at the pattern for the row you're on, and then you're like, got it, and you do it. And then you look at the next row, got it, you do it. So it's not repetitive, that it's a long repeat, like 14 or 20 stitches or something like that for like lace work. It's super duper easy. A beginner could even do this like very easily. But also it's fun for us people that have knitted a lot over the years. So like it's so much fun. And then to watch the color changes as it goes. Oh my gosh, I'm just gonna move on to my final color, the gray. I don't have the gray in here yet. I think it's the gray, yeah. So color A, in case you're doing this yourself at one point, the tip color, so for the color to where you start, is color A. So yeah, that orange color that you see all throughout, that's going to be your color A. So if you want the tip of your shawl, your favorite color of the whole bunch, put it as color A. I, for myself though, wanted my favorite color at the very end because that's how I'm going to wear it. So I left the purple for the very end color. So I chose this to be the first color, which you'll see the tip sticking out of the purple, and I loved the orange and purple together. So that color A goes all the way, and all the colors. So this is color A, and then you got B, C, D, E, and then F, all in with color A. And then I don't know where it goes from there. I just know for this much, but oh, it's so much fun, and I can't wait to snuggle with this. So thank you, Cole, so much. Hopefully you will see lots of progress. I'll put a progress keeper to show you next time because I know I won't be done. No, I have too much Christmas projects to work on. I can't be done that. So that's just something that I kind of pick up. I keep it by my chair, and I'll do a few rows here and there between, if I get tired of my things I'm doing for Christmas gifts, I'll pick up that because I just love it. I just want to, oh, I just love it. Now, if you are a person who is thrifty and do not want to spend $150 on a shawl, you could also use, there's yarns by, they're in a cake form, and they have marled yarns together. So there's two different colors, three different colors swirled in the one strand. It's almost like braided. And there is cheaper ones out there that you can purchase at Michael's, and you can do the exact same thing, or color changing yarn or striping yarn. I'm not sure, variegated, maybe. I mean, the possibilities are truly endless with this, or just pick from your stash and just pick as you go. So much fun. I just love, love, love that project. So that's it for my works in progress. I just want to show you what I'm going to be casting on after the Blurry Flurry hat, the one I showed you just the brim of. I want to make one more, so that'll give me 3 submissions to the Cozy Up Knits cow. And I want to do their hat that's called Spring Ahead Beanie. Now I want to show this one because this one I believe is a free hat pattern. Yes, it is. It's a one of their free hat patterns. So you can get this on Cozy Up Knits. I'll put it on the screen here. Cozy Up Knits Spring Ahead Beanie. Okay, and it uses a DK weight yarn, so you can hold fingering held double if you would like. It uses 4mm needles, and you're going to be working in the round. So you're going to want to work, let's see here. I'm just going to let you know to see if you need 6. Yes, so you could start with 16-inch cords or 16-inch needle set, and then you'll probably, by the top, I'm just guessing, you'll probably need to switch to DPNs or magic loop to close the top off. Yeah, I would say you would, just like I did on the other one. But here it is. I really like it, and I wanted to use, I got a DK weight. I wanted to use this DK weight yarn by Betsy Fibers. It's a DK weight 4-ply superwash merino 100%, so there's no nylon in it, so I couldn't use this for socks, or I wouldn't use that for socks. Let's just say that. 231 yards. So if I was to do the Musselburgh hat and DK, I would everywhere I was looking, it was saying 260 to 270 yards I'd need in DK, so I would be quite short. And this colorway doesn't have a name, but it has a number of 41. So here's the color. Oh, it's so rich. It's almost like, reminds me of, the brown reminds me of Christmas, the Christmas tree trunk with red and green, the Christmas colors. It's so beautiful, so squishy soft. I can't wait to use it. So I'm going to show you my acquisitions. None are brand new. They're all from the secondhand store, but there is some really, really cool, unique things you might want to stick around for ideas. If you're a secondhand shopper such as myself, you might want to look for these sort of items. You might not get the exact same item. You might, but chances are probably not. But this will give you some ideas of what to look for when you're in a secondhand store, to think outside the box for what to use. So the first thing I have is actually a box. I've seen this on the shelf in the store, and it looked like just an ordinary shoe box. But then I noticed it has a zipper on it. It has a label here, so I just put on it my circular needles. I think that's what I put. Circular knitting needles. And then you just unzip it. Now, I don't know if somebody made this or if it came from a store. I think it had a winner's ticket on for $14.99. That's what it was. It was from Winners, but I paid $4.99 for this, minus a discount, and I bought it specifically for all my kind of random knitting needles. It won't stay open for me. So just the ones in the packages that are on the, you know, the thrifty end. I don't like to say cheap, so on the cheaper end for knitting. So if my good needles are all used up and I get the notion to cast something on. So these are all the ones that I've purchased over the years before I got into serious knitting. But I don't want to get rid of them because they're great to have spares, right? So I have them in this new box, all, well, new to me. I don't even think it looked new, like used at all. I think somebody might have used it for a pair of shoes. So it's not like they were in and out of it like I may be. So something like this that the dust isn't going to get into them. If it falls off the shelf on me by accident, they're not going to go all over the place. I did have them in a regular shoe box, but not my size shoes. My husband's 13, 14 size feet. So it was a very large shoe box, but I kept knocking it over sometimes or reaching up for something because I had it way up top, and I've had them all fall all over the floor, and I'm like, oh, I don't want that. So if this falls, it's not going to hurt it, and they're not going to go anywhere. So maybe that would be something that you'd like to look for. The next couple things, just quickly, I always look at their little wallets, purses, coin purses for things to put notions in for my bags, because I like to have a notions pouch for every knitting bag that I have, / for every project. So every project has its own knitting notions pouch in it. So I found this wallet, and normally you would think if it's like this that it's just for coins, right? But this one is flat. So it's totally flat. So when I open it like this, I could have everything in here. So this is larger than I normally would have, but I have a couple pair of scissors that are on the larger side, so they'll fit in there. And so will actually a crochet hook. So this might be one for a crochet bag project bag. I was going to reverse the order. So I only paid $1.99, and I got a discount on that as well. Everything I got from the secondhand store, I got a discount on because it was, you get that 20% off coupon when you bring in a donation. So I got the 20% off anyway. And then in the magazine section, which surprised me because this book was actually $25, knitting for beginners. Now I don't consider myself a beginner. I've knitted since I'm 9, but I've also just from when I was 9 till probably about 3 years ago, I only knitted flat things. So I did the knit, the purl, the cast on, cast off, and that was about it. Oh, and yarn overs. So up until 3 years ago, that's all I knew. So everything else I've learned in the last 3 years. But this has patterns, it has different ideas, it has about blocking, it has how to read charts, and I've been wanting to learn how to read charts. It has like all the stitches, like everything people need to know. Not just beginners, because there's things in here that some people that have been knitting for years might not have known either. But this was 99 cents. So I also got 20% off that. So that's 80 cents for that book. That was $25. So I could not leave that behind. Couldn't pass that up. I'm all about a bargain. Then the next thing I got, you might have seen it and then thought, oh, it's just a bowl. So here is the bowl I purchased. It has all these holes, and it's a beautiful handmade ceramic bowl. I believe it's from one of our local potters, actually, because I've seen it in their shop. And this was $5.99 minus my 20%. And I'm using it as a yarn bowl. It has so many holes in it. So look at all the holes. So when I pull the yarn as I'm working my project, it just goes rolling around in the bowl. So I love that. So when I have a little bit of yarn left over, I tend to just wind it into a ball instead of putting it on my cake winder. So I'll put it into a little ball and use something like this. So I also, if you have not been here for a while or haven't watched me for a while, I also have a soup tureen that I have as my really large ball holder yarn bowl. It has a lid, and it has the part where the soup ladle goes in as the hole, so my yarn sticks out there, but I could fit like a cake that's wound, or a ball that's wound into a big ball of Bernat blanket yarn even. It's so large. The soup tureens are like this big, and it was $5.99 for that with the lid, and I just tossed the ladle back into the secondhand store for somebody maybe that broke their soup tureen ladle. So that's another idea. So sometimes for yarn bowls, if you're interested, you want to get a yarn bowl. It doesn't have to be for yarn, made for yarn. You want something that's really heavy and something that has a hole in it. So think outside the box when you're going into those secondhand stores. Before I even had the soup tureen or this, I did a coffee can, and in the lid I put a hole, and if you were to pull your yarn ball from in a coffee can even, the coffee can's going to go rolling around. It's too light. It's not going to just sit on the floor, sit on the table or anything when you pull your yarn. So what I did was I went to the craft store and I purchased a little box for $1, those really smooth rocks, and they're clean. I would go outside and get them, but I didn't want that around my yarn. So I put those in the bottom to weight it down, and that worked perfect for years. But I didn't really always want a coffee can sitting in my living room. It's plastic. They're plastic now, so it was plastic, a Folgers one. But I didn't really want that sitting in my living room. So this will look pretty. It doesn't matter. I won't be ashamed to have this out with my yarn sitting in it at all. And then my last one I'm going to save for the very last. So this is the second last item. This was something that my mom had given me. And thank you, Mom, by the way. And it worked out so perfectly. We were talking on the phone one day last week, and I had mentioned about wanting a way to store some knitting needles, and I had mentioned about this idea, and she says, I have one of those, would you like it? And I said, absolutely. So it's just a CD case, one of those CD, DVD, video game, you know, cases, and it has a zipper, so everything stays compact. But what I did was put all my ones that you've seen in the green box, all the random ones that were 16-inch, because I use those a lot, like still the no name or the boy or the loops and thread, all those different types of needles. I put them in here because I do use the 16-inch ones because I like those for hats. So I don't know if I opened it all the way. There we go. So I put them in here and I labeled them all. So I've got 2 millimeter, 2.25 millimeter. Then you go to the next one, 2.5, 2.75, 3, 3.25. I got 3.5, 3.75. Then I'm missing my 4 and 4.5. They must be in a project somewhere. And I'm missing my 5. So that's not too surprising because I do a lot of worsted weight hats, and those are the numbers that would be with the worsted weight hats. So then I got 5.5, 6, and you'll see multiples in the larger ones because I found some extra ones that were around that were these sizes. So I have 7, 8, 9, 10 millimeter, and the 7 millimeter are hard to come by in knitting needles, but surprisingly enough, it's still in there. And then I have, after the 10, I have a 12.5 in there. I saved room in case in the future I do find the other sizes. And the 12.75 is my second largest needle set. My largest is 25 millimeter, but of course it doesn't fit in this. So just an idea for your knitting needles. You can use any knitting needles you want in here. You could keep them in the package, slide them in, and just use one of the pockets. Lots of ideas. You probably can come up with a lot more ideas than I did, but that's just one idea. And this would be great to travel with if you're going to do you're just working on hats and you're not even sure which size needle you're going to want. You just grab your little CD, DVD, video game case, and off you go. You have all your needles that you want. The next thing is the one thing I am most excited for. This is why I said save the best for last. And I was like, that's exactly what I've been looking for. I've been looking for this kind of container for, I don't know, a year at least. At least a year. So I'll show it to you first and then I'll tell you about it. So here it is. It looks just like any kind of travel bag. It's got a nice over the shoulder long handle. It's not out long, but then it's got a short handle. It's got a pocket over here, which I have. If you watch my last knitting podcast, you will have noticed that I talked about this container and how I have everything organized in this one. So go back and check that video out because that's a really cool container. And then it has a zipper side on this side, which I have my ChowGoo 4-inch set, my ChowGoo 5-inch set, and my Hiya Sharp Socks set in there. Okay, I'm not going to put them back in. I'll do that after. And in there also I have a little notions pouch in there and a gauge reader thing. So yeah, that was all in this one front little pouch here that zips up. Then it is attached. I have stitch marker and my measuring tape attached to the handle so that it doesn't take room out of any of this. So then you lay it flat like a book, and it has a zipper part over here that you unzip, And when you open it, it opens like a binder. Oops. It opens like a binder. And here I have all my ChowGoo cords from my mini, small, and large cords. And then over here I have my the blue lace ones, or the blue shorties. So those are in this section. So I have my minis, including my 2-inch ChowGoo mini sets, and my smalls, my larges, and then my blue lace ones. And of course, I have the Addies. I like the Addies. They're silicone pads to put in the adjustable cords. Put in the adjustable cords? No. To twist the cords for the ChowGoo and the Addies. I like the Addies ones because they're thinner. Then the ChowGoo one is pretty thick, and there's only one of them. So I like these because there's two, so I leave them there. Then there's another page. Ooh. So I have all my little knickknacks here. So here I have a spare 9-inch circular that I have that's bamboo that I didn't want to get misplaced. I have all my connectors and my, what is this one called? My adapters for my ChowGoo to change like a mini cord into, you screw it into the mini cord to make it so that the small tips can go into the mini cord. And then I have, oh, here, I have my 2-inch ChowGoo adapters here, or cords, I should say. So they're mini ChowGoo, if you see in the top there. They're mini, they're 2 inches, but what I do is make them into Addie Flexi Flips kind of idea. So I take my ChowGoo 2-inch knitting needles. I talk all about that in my ChowGoo video. If you want to know what all of these ChowGoo things are for, check out my Addie ChowGoo knitting video. It's not that far back. Just go into my, click on videos, look for the one where I'm holding all the ChowGoo sets. Did I say Addies? I hope I didn't say Addies earlier because I'm talking about ChowGoo. Now these are my 2 sets. This is my mini, no. This is my small. I don't think it's called small either. This is my red shorties set for ChowGoo. This is my blue shorties set for ChowGoo. So the red ones go up to 3.25. The blue ones start at 3.5, go up to 5. So you could make a 8-inch, I think it is, to 4. So you get 5 sets. Oh, I don't know. Watch the ChowGoo set video because I talk all about that, and I actually sound like I know what I'm talking about in that video. So they're very cool. So I have 2 sets of the Addies. Not the Addies. Oh my gosh, words. I have 2 sets of the ChowGoo red shorties and only 1 of the blue shorties so far. I use the red a lot more than I do the blue. Then I have another page, and on this page I have, in here I have some short knitting needles, some 4.5 and 5 millimeters. I have a light up crochet hook, and I have a set of 5 DPNs of a 3.25 millimeter. I have a different set, 2 different sets of crochet hooks in here, and the full sets. I have some 11-inch cords in 2.0 and 2.75 millimeter, and I have some 4.5 and 5 millimeter DPNs in there. And then there's another page, and this is my Addies sets. These are just my Addies cords. As my Addies knitting needles, I actually have in my ChowGoo case in the correct size slot. Because you know how when you get the deluxe set of ChowGoo, only one set is, one pocket is filled with the ChowGoo, and it has an extra row. So I put my Addies in with my ChowGoos in that extra row. So these are all my Addie Rockets, squared is what I have, the interchangeables. And these are all the cords that I've acquired. So I have a 9-inch 16 inch, 13, 21, 29, and 24 inch cords. Now by the inches, I need to add the 7 inches of my tips onto those. So like 9 inches plus my 7 inches of needles is my 16 inch circulars. So I have to add 7 inches to all the different numbers to know what the final measurement is for my cords. And then the last page we have is there's nothing on that actual page, but there's a pouch full zipper, and I have all my DPNs that I have in there. So every size up to 10 millimeters I have in there. I don't think I have any DPNs larger than 10 millimeters. So I collected those at Walmart over the last while. They're just metal ones, but they do the job when I'm just closing up a hat or something like that. I don't knit a whole project with DPNs. So there is my most favorite purchase, because I let my family know, I'm like, if anything ever happens, gosh forbid that anything ever happened, I said, you grab that bag. You grab my knitting needle bag, because there's crochet hooks in there too. There's not my favorite crochet hooks. My favorite ones are my rubber handled ones, and they're always sitting in a drawer beside me. So I don't want to keep grabbing my bag to take them out, you know, every time, because I keep my crochet hooks in the drawer. I don't keep my crochet hook with the project. I might be working on 3 projects that need like a 4 millimeter hook, and I don't want to keep them in the project bag so they'd get lost. So I just say, grab that bag and my iPad and out you go. Like, this is important to me. So I just love this. So this was only $2.99. $2.99, and look, I got all my knitting and most of my crochet stuff all in one quick to grab bag. Like, it's amazing. So yay, thank you to my mother-in-law Lynn for bringing me out shopping that day. Otherwise I would have missed this. I would have known I missed it, but I wouldn't have missed it, and I had a wonderful day with her shopping. So well, thank you everybody so much that stuck around right till the very end. I always appreciate that. Let me know down in the comments below what you thought, or what you were working on when you watched, what you were drinking, what you were maybe doing or thinking, or did you say, gosh darn Barb, that was one crazy podcast. I apologize if it was. I know, like, I had my ring light on at the beginning, and then it was blowing out the colors, so I turned that off, and then it was like, then it got cloudy, and then here we are in a whole new day. Like, crazy, right? But now I gotta record my crochet video, and when I record my crochet video, that won't be up for a few more days, because by the time I edit this one and get this one up, then while the few days between, I will edit my crochet one up and put that one up. So this one will probably be up on Friday, November 12th, and then the crochet one, look for that maybe Monday or Tuesday of next week. So hope you enjoyed, everybody. You have a wonderful weekend. I will be, of course, doing my Remembrance Day things. By the next podcast, I will probably have my Christmas tree up. So don't mind me if it's a couple days late of my podcast, because I really want to get my decorating done so that I could focus on my gift knits. And I don't think I have any gift crochets left. Just my, oh yes I do. So I have to, all my projects need to get done. So take care everyone, and have a great and wonderful couple weeks, and I'll see you soon. So I like to stagger them. I do a knitting podcast, and then the next week a crochet one, then knitting, then a crochet. So, and sometimes there might be a weekend there where there's nothing, because this is a very busy time of year for many of us, and me included, with getting things ready for the holidays, the house decorated, the gifts wrapped, the things purchased, you know, on top of household duties and on top of knitting and crochet time. So so much to do, so little time to do it all in. So have a great one everybody, and take care, and keep on being naughty. Bye.